Okay,
It's all confusing. It doesn't even make sense. I keep doing this, but it's not.
go ahead and go to REPL and open up your Newman clone project. We're going to try to finish that up. It should look like this.
Are we doing this on Adam?
Oh, that's right. We are doing it on Adam, aren't we? That's right. I guess open up Adam if you have that. I forgot we switched. It might take a while to load.
Just click open.
What's that?
Video did.
You should close the welcome stuff that pops up, and then hopefully your project is still open.
Sure.
So every time you start Adam, it usually will pop up stuff like welcome. You don't need that. You don't need that. And you don't need that. So you can close the things that open up. And we just had these two files from before. To open up your website that's on your computer, you'd go to your File Explorer. And there should be a folder in Documents called Websites. And you should have a folder called Newman Clone. Go ahead and open up the index of that. You can probably double click it if you just want to use Chrome. You should have this page, the menu.
Imagine if that was an actual website, it was just instead.
We like food.
It was just to tell, like, it'd be so funny if they did something like that.
It makes sense with the
Food
photo.
in April.
It makes sense with the photo. They got all
That's
this
true.
fancy stuff.
Yeah, canned goods.
Canned bacon. Yum.
Yeah, that's the best kind of bacon. So everybody has Adam up, or is that right?
Yeah.
We'll give Kyle a second. It was Adam. ATOM. You can just type Adam and then it should search for it.
I like all my GI1, UI2 are like.
Because, like, I don't know, I like his oh, yeah, I love him. I listened to his video for the first time. Oh, those are hilarious. Just listening to a lot. He totally had like this, like, he's in this, like, even type area. And like, he like yelled at him. Like, he's put so much downside.
Podcast. I usually listen to that when I'm on the line. So like they're long enough on YouTube where like it does it like they're long enough on the borderline to listen to the entire podcast.
He was in politics for such a long time.
Yeah, I know.
And then he had to stop making podcasts because of that. And then once they gave him the hiccup, he just started monetizing his content. It's ridiculous that YouTube, like, they try.
Oh yeah, because YouTube's
they're trying to censor well, yeah, and Spotify's trying to they're gonna strike. They're gonna have a strike against Spotify.
Yeah.
If they don't censor it or it's just something
Well, the only reason something should be censored if it's not inappropriate and not factual.
or it's not family like well not really care about it. Like the thing that I do care about it
If it's factual and it's like not totally inappropriate. Like
I mean some murderers but then that's what you get for your kids. Like
you got normal YouTube, you got kids YouTube.
kids YouTube
Or like you just type in YouTube if you're under 18 and it doesn't pop up with those videos.
like that's on YouTube. Like if your kids watch that stuff.
Be a better parent.
Like if you buy a kid probably and they're promoting personal stuff,
You bought the phone,
you bought the phone.
you gave it to them, what are you gonna stuff
You
on?
knew that they were able to do that.
Yeah, no. We gotta blame the person for putting out content.
See, you see people on
You can't take blame for your own faults. Brady, I broke the chair. Someone sits down. Let's scare him.
I'm gonna be 90 days also. I'll see that.
But we're just trying to.
Put it over.
Like the name of the site I was saying right here. So they got
Still feel like. It's all it sounds like. Alright, are we ready? I guess so. Not really. My brain is. I'm ready for a nap.
All right, so if you can see this, we're going to go to the style file. And the thing I want to change, if you see on this preview, I want to center the menus here at some point. We can do that right away, actually. And I want to sort of fix the pictures a little bit. Did we already fix the pictures? Well, we can do a little bit more with that. And I want to get them so that they do actually do a little slideshow for you. And we'll see how far we get with that today. So, if you, I want to fix the menus, and that was in the, this sort of, I had it done over here. Let me see if the REPL. Yeah, in nav, we had commented out the align items center. We're going to bring that back. So in Atom, you see the align items center has been commented out with the 2 slashes. That's on my line 52. I'm going to take out those 2 slashes so that it's no longer commented out. If you save that, then make sure you save so that you can see the changes. Then that should allow you to. Now this should be centered. Our problem was that when we tried to view them, the whole thing centers, so they pop up to the top when we show the drop-down menu. Is that how yours works now?
Yeah.
Alright. One way to fix that was, let me see. I had done it here. The nav.nav menu. If you set its height to 18 pixels, the nav.nav menu right underneath nav. I added 18 pixels. And save that. That should, I think, lock it where it's at. So we've just uncommented the align items in nav. So we brought that back. And we've added the height attribute to be set to 18 pixels in the nav.nav menu. Save those changes and Hopefully your menu kind of works better now.
There we go.
Is that working? I think we set the images we controlled. I think the height of them. We'll try to fix that. I don't know where that was. Maybe down here in with height. Okay, so we had set the height of grid item 1. We controlled the height of the rows. So we did set the pictures to have 300 pixels as their height. Width we made 100%, so we're kind of trimming the pictures. What I'm going to do instead in this section where it says grid template rows, instead of saying 300, I'm just going to say auto, and that should allow it to adapt to the height of the photos. And then if I save that, hopefully it gets the full photo. Yeah, you get a little bit more.
There we go. Wow. Mint.
So just auto on the, instead of 300 pixels at the first one. And if you remember, when we scroll down, right now it says grid item 1, image first of type. That's the first picture of type image. We set display none. If you said last of type, if you remember, I saved that. So instead of first, I changed it to last. Then you see the other picture. The last one becomes transparent.
Yeah.
What's that?
No.
So what we want to do is I want to make it kind of slideshowy, so it kind of does what we expect. So what we can do is I'm going to copy that last bit for grid item 1. So copy that and make a duplicate. So I'm going to say image first of type versus image last of type. I'm not going to worry about the display type. I'm just going to take that out. So right now they're empty. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to say that I want them to be animated. So for the first image, I'm going to say animation. Oops. And I'm going to set this animation attribute. What you do is you name the animation. I'm going to call this fade 1. I'm going to make it take 10 seconds. And if you type ease, that sort of means it will smoothly transition. It's not a big deal if you put ease or not. I think it does it by default anyway. So for the first image, I'm telling it to animate using an animation called fade 1, which we haven't defined yet. And to make it repeat forever, so it will just keep doing this, we're going to say animation iteration count infinite. Got too many eyes. So how many times will it go through this? Infinite, yeah. I'm going to do the same thing for the other one, for the other image, only I'm going to change the name of the animation to fade 2 instead of fade 1. Otherwise, I just copied and pasted this. Is that okay? All right. If you've got that, then all we want to do is we want to define what these animations are. So it's just more CSS code, but you can control. It's basically timed, so it'll do this over a period of 10 seconds. We can tell what we want the code to be at particular parts of that 10-second interval. So it's called keyframes. You type @keyframes. And then inside of there, well, actually, you've got to type the name first. So fade 1. Oops. And then whatever we put in here is the animations code. So the image 1 will have this code applied to it during these parts of the animation. At 0% into the animation, we want to set some attributes. So this is what it will be like at the start of the animation. So I just did @keyframes fade 1, and in brackets, I have a 0% bracket. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that. Whoops. I don't want it to indent too much. And we'll have a 100%. And we can basically say what it should be like. I'm just going to say opacity. That means how transparent is it. I want opacity to be 1, which means it's not transparent at all. And then at 100% of the time, the opacity will switch to 0. So that's the animation of the first image. It basically just blurs out. Does that make sense at all? I'll go ahead and save it, and let's just see what that looks like. Oh, the other image is down there, isn't it? All right, so that's kind of what I wanted. It's a really slow fade out. It's kind of fun to watch. But the images, because we have them both. We didn't set either of them to not display, so they're both showing up. What, uses what? Check your code then. Make sure you have animation, fade 1, 10 seconds. And then @keyframes, fade 1. And then curlies, 0% with curlies, 100% with curlies. Make sure you spelled opacity right. Are there any errors? You saved? And refreshed? What?
Yeah, I did it the first time this didn't work.
going to do is we're going to actually make the images overlay each other. So right now, these images are both, they're both technically, by default, if you don't tell them what display, it'll be display block. You don't have to type that. But that's what it is by default. I'm just showing you don't have to type that. And position is called, this one you do type. Position, I think by default is static. We're going to say absolute, which means it's going to be in terms of the it's going to be in terms of the screen pixels themselves. So if I do that, let's go ahead and save it and take a look at what happens. You now notice that they're actually up quite a bit, I think. They're actually stacked over top of each other now. What's that? It's covering up your yellow?
Yeah.
Let me try something else then. Let me try just replace, comment that out because we're probably still gonna need that, but let's just try to shut it off for now. I'm gonna try top 0. So if you put in the attribute top 0, did that fix anything? Okay, there's still stacking though, right? Maybe.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah, nothing really changed.
Either one of those.
Yeah, I forgot that it was going to cover up the rest of the stuff. Well, what we can do is, do we know the height of these pictures? Let me see if I can figure that out. It looks like it's 991 by 403, so it's about 403 pixels tall. This is kind of a cheat method, but let's see if it'll work. So the last of type, I'm going to give it a margin dash top of minus 403 pixels. So margin top usually puts space above a picture, so it pushes the picture down. But if you make it negative, it actually can pull it up. Is that not quite right?
It's like halfway.
The second picture. Yeah, the second picture is like shorter than the bottom picture. It needs to go up like
More?
maybe like 100 pixels or so.
Huh.
Mine's not like that one.
Does yours like reload or what?
I have a bigger gap than that one. Like, give a tiny gap, I have a huge gap.
Huh. Let's try 100%. Maybe. Let me just mess with it on mine, and you don't have to try everything that I'm trying here. That same thing? Yeah, pretty much. 110%. No effect. I wish I knew which one was which. let's try 440. What do you think? 420 pixels? Is that too much?
Wasn't enough.
Still didn't help.
380. I don't know which one is which. 460.
No.
Oh, it's very minute.
So image one is the bottom photo. Love that.
All right, let's try this instead, I guess. All right, I'm going to take that out. Forget margin top. We're going to come back to here, and we are going to go absolute with the images. And top is just going to have to be. Let me see how big we made these things. We made head 1, 30 pixels tall, then 80, then 60. So that means, what do we want? 140 altogether? Is that right? Oh no, 170? 170, is that right? So, top 170 pixels. So position absolute, top 170 pixels. There, they're overlapped. They're not overlapped?
Nope, mine are back to where they were before.
What? Position absolute?
This is so confusing.
Yeah, make sure the position absolute is in. Otherwise top won't really work.
Are they supposed to fade in the house?
Well, if the second one's on top of the first one, you won't see it. So, but yeah, technically the one behind it is fading. Did that kind of work?
Nope. I'm still stuck on this.
You don't? Did you uncomment the position absolute?
Yep.
Do you have 2 pictures in? Well, I'll look at it in a second. Do you have fade 1 and fade 1 here? Instead of fade 2?
Yeah.
So change it to fade 2. Okay. Is that okay for you guys?
There we go.
Okay. We do have a problem. We'll worry about that later. The yellow tiles are now starting up here probably. So maybe where we set it to auto, maybe I should set that back. Did it change? Didn't I have auto here?
Well, yeah, 'cause you're on double.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was like, what happened?
It's changing at the moment.
403 pixels maybe? Instead of auto? Let's just play around with that.
What line is that?
Say 300?
403. That's okay. So instead of auto, change it to 403.
Here we go.
Section.
Section.
Did you do this? Alright, then make it a bigger number. Your screen is a different resolution than mine. You might need to do the bigger number if your screen is a different resolution. That's okay, because in this one, initially, just this one. Yeah, just choose a big number.
A bigger one?
Yeah.
So it goes all yellow?
Yeah, so it pushes the yellow down. I tried 500, 550. Okay.
There we go.
Just get it close. That part doesn't matter really right now. All right, the thing I do want to finish today is the animation. So if you have the two pictures, we did put in fade 1. If you go ahead and copy all of those keyframes there and make another one.
Fading behind.
Yeah. So then we'll do fade 2 and we'll do it the other way. It'll go from 0 to 1. So just copy the fade 1 animation and make a version for fade 2 and have it go from 0 opacity to 1 opacity and save that.
Did you just copy all of it and change the arms?
Yeah. Make it say fade 2 and set opacity to go from 0 to 1 instead of 1 to 0. And does it like snap? Yeah, it kind of snaps and then it does it again. Is that working for you?
Yeah, it's working.
That's not working.
It's kind of working.
I just need to change the
Mine's not working.
Make sure it says fade 1 and fade 2 so that each one does a different thing. Okay, so I'm going to copy inside of fade 1, I'm going to copy what I have. And I'm going to make 2 more keyframes. It's going to go from 0 to 45%, then to 50, then to 95, then to 100. I'm just making more of these little keyframes.
Why?
Because, so you have 0, then 5% before the halfway mark, you start the transition, and then 5% before the end, you transition back.
This doesn't work right.
Did you save it and run it?
Yeah, it does this though.
Yeah, that's okay. We're fixing it.
I had it working before I only had one.
No, it's because we didn't fade back. It was going to make a hard shift when it resets. So we're going to make it not do that. So fade 1 is going to start with full opacity. It's going to maintain full opacity for most of the first half, but then it's going to transition quickly to 0. It'll hold at 0 for the second half, but right at the end it transitions back to being opaque. So it should go 1 1 0 0 1. And all I'm going to do for fade 2 is I'm going to copy those keyframes and replace what fade 2 had. I'm just going to paste right over them. And I'm just going to change the opacity so that 0s are 1s and 1s are 0s. I just copied all the same keyframes, but where one is visible, the other will be invisible. And
Put that under fade 2.
yeah, I just replaced what was already there. And there you should have a pretty nice little slideshow of 2 slides. It stays on 1 for roughly 5 seconds. Does a quick fade for roughly 5 seconds. And switches back.
Can you go back to the Adam part?
Yeah.
Key,
Fade more?
or keyframes 2.
Yep.
0 0 1.
So we gotta do that for both fade 1 and fade 2. So
Yep. Only they're doing the opposite things.
yeah.
If you want it to take longer, instead of 10 seconds in your animation, you could have said like 20 seconds.
Mine's just like,
Yeah, it should be fast, right?
Yeah. Just
But it
like-
holds for a while, right? And then it does a transition?
Okay, the image will last for,
Should be about like 4.5 seconds.
mine is about 5.
Yeah.
And then it just like instantly snaps, it doesn't like fade.
Let's see.
I don't know how to describe it.
You could have an instant on. That's a fade. This is a real quick one. Half a second.
Just like, well, I'm just comparing it to what it did last time.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's real quick now. If you go to the Atom code, you wanted to go longer, maybe instead of 50, could you do 5? I don't know if you want to do that. Then this one would be quick, so maybe do 90, then they get massive.
I'll just do that.
Yeah. If you want to scroll up a little bit, change the times to like 20 seconds. It would double the length of how long it will accomplish. Because it's a percentage of whatever time you actually. Yep. Oh, just copy all of what you have and paste it. Jesus,
Come on, Brady.
yeah.
I hate myself.
Put it in the form.
I am.
So I can get
Cheers.
And then just change instead of 00110 to 1100.
These carpet things are no good.
You're killing that. You ain't careful. Alright, I mean, you could do this with more than just 2 slides, obviously. It's starting to kind of look like the Newman site if you don't scroll too far down. The menus are kind of weird. These words are obviously incorrect. Alright, that's
That's it for today.
yeah, I think that's pretty good. This thing needs to be fixed. Oh well. Cold. Yes. It's side out.
Let's fade one.
1 second.